In celebration of Rancid's new album, Tomorrow Never Comes, I wanted to look back on their discography before the new album and rank all of the records according to how important they are to me. Every Rancid album is going to be better than most other bands' albums for me personally. So where I put these is almost irrelevant in any other conversation other than where I rank them in Rancid's discography. It's my favorite band. I love them a lot. The new album, I've already given it 4 listens, and I am pretty surprised at how good it is. So I'll be doing a review for that as well pretty soon. But yeah, let's start talking about Rancid's discography. I'm yeah, this is gonna be I, heads up. This is probably gonna piss off some people, but it's okay. What I did was is I just named the album. I gave it a ranking out of 10. Uh, the year it was made, and the top couple of tracks, and then a couple of notes for each record. So let's start out with the best Rancid album, in my personal opinion, is "And Out Come the Wolves." It's a 10 out of 10. There is nothing bad on that record. The production's great. The songwriting is great. The storytelling is phenomenal. Really, the album that catapulted Rancid into the forefront of punk rock. It came out in 1995 on Epitaph. It's 19 songs and 50 minutes in length. The top tracks on that album for me are Journey to the End of East Bay, She's Automatic, and Roots Radical. Almost every song is a good song, though, so it was really hard to pick three. But Journey is my favorite song of all time. She's Automatic is one that my wife and I listen to together, and Roots Radical is, I mean, it's freaking Roots Radical. It's like one of the best songs ever written. So I feel like I'm pretty confident with that. But and Out Come the Wolves completely changed my life. I saw them play live in 1996 in Dallas for the first time, and I bought an Out Come the Wolves shirt, and it changed my whole life. I wouldn't look how I look. I wouldn't have the same clothes on that I do now if it wasn't for this record. So I owe that album a lot. The first record on this list and the last were easy for me to pick. Everything in between was difficult. I struggled with number two. My knee jerk reaction was to put Let's Go in number two. And I had to listen to all these albums a lot to write down the songs that I had to go back and just dive back into them, right? So the one that I have at number two was at like number five when I just wrote the list down off of memory, but it climbed its way all up to number two. Life Won't Wait is number two for me. And Michael from Poppers is probably going to hear this and go, "What?" Because I didn't think that it was that great upon just recollection. Like, I just didn't. I felt like there was songs that I was skipping. And then when I go back and listen to it, the greatness of this album. Now, do I go back and listen to this one as much as the other albums? No, I don't. But looking at it objectively, this is a masterpiece. And if I was Rancid, this is probably the record that I would be the most proud of. It came out on June 30th in 1998. It's 22 songs. It's an hour and 4 minutes. It's a really long record. It's a piece of artwork. The cover's different than their other stuff. The production is different. They recorded it in three different places. One of those places being Jamaica. So this album is just completely different than their other works. I mean, it's wild how different this record really is. But it is a 10 out of 10 in my personal opinion, objectively. Now, subjectively, I don't go back and listen to it as often as I do some of the others because I like to hear more of the Rancid sound most of the time. But it's a beautiful record, and my top three tracks on it, by the way, Hoover Street. Oh, I love that song. Who would have thought? Of course. I mean, I like the romantic stuff. I got Hopeless Romantic on my knuckles. I like I like breakup songs. I like that stuff, man. It's good. But my favorite song on the record is The Wolf. That song smacks, dude. That song is so good, bro. It's got one of the best choruses. I really like 1998 as well, but the top three would be Hoover Street, The Wolf, and Who Would Have Thought. But that leads me to number three. Number three would be Let's Go. Let's Go, pardon me. Let's Go is a 9.8 out of 10 for me. Very little to not absolutely love on that album. Came out on June 14th in 1994 on Epitaph. It's 23 songs and 44 minutes and 22 seconds. Those are short songs. Let's Go, when I was younger, I always paired it with And Out Come the Wolves because we didn't have Life Won't Wait yet. We didn't have Self-Titled 2000. We didn't have Indestructible. We didn't know that stuff. We had all the way up until And Out Come the Wolves. And so I didn't listen to the Self-Titled 93 album very much. I don't know that I even had it for quite a while. The two that I had was Let's Go and Now Come the Wolves, and they sounded very similar to me back then. Going back and listening to it now, they're very different records. Let's Go has no ska on it. Lars's first stint with the band, or not stint, but when he got into the band was right when Let's Go was being written and recorded. So yeah, I will say this though, while it's objectively really great, I don't go back to that one as much either. But I like it. I love it. I'm getting it tattooed on my head. I love that record. It's one. It helped form me as a punk rocker. It helped bring me into who I am as well. I probably listened to Let's Go as much as Now Come the Wolves when I was younger. I had a tape that had one on one side and one on the other, and I just listened to it over and over and over and over. I mean, I probably ruined that tape, but Let's Go is a beautiful record, and you can start to hear where they're headed with this album. Back in 1994, man, I almost got there. I was almost there in '94, man. I wish I had been. To pick this up new would have been crazy. My top 3 songs on Let's Go are going to be Radio, of course, right? Saint Mary and Sidekick. Those songs are amazing. Honestly, the more I'm thinking about it, the further down the this is such a hard list for me to make, because on one day I have them listed this way, and on another day I have them listed the other way. I tried to make a definitive list, and that's what I'm going to stick with. This is my definitive list. Number 4 is probably going to be a little controversial, but I don't care. Number 4 is Troublemaker. I almost put it number 3. It might actually be number 3 for me. I love this record. It's a 9.5 out of 10. It came out on June 9th, 2017. It's 19 songs, 41 minutes and 16 seconds. It was released on Hellcat and Epitaph. This album I knew I liked, but upon additional listens, I discovered that it ranked way higher than I anticipated it ranking. The opening 4 tracks are all bangers. It's not even until All American Neighborhood do we reach a track that I don't really just love. But even that song, the lyrics are absolutely excellent. This came out at a time in my life when I was not as into music as I once was and am now. And so I didn't know it even came out. I just completely missed it. And when I heard it the first time, I was like, okay, I like it. And I felt bad for not knowing it was out. And I don't understand people that don't lump Troublemaker and Honors All We Know in with. I don't get it. People seem to separate those records. They're just as good as the others, in my opinion. I mean, I really, really love that album. I listened to it a couple days ago again just to make sure I wasn't tripping, because it's taken me a couple weeks to make this list, because I was listening to everything all the way through more than once to just make sure I knew where I wanted to rank these. And man, this album is fantastic. I'd like to see where I rank all these albums in like another year or two, because I feel like it'll change a little bit. Oh man, I feel like I was supposed to put Life Won't Wait and Let's Go that high, but I do think I listened to Troublemaker more than all of them. I think Outcome the Wolves, Troublemaker are the 2 I go to the most. And with number 5, but let me go with the top 3 tracks first. The top 3 songs on Troublemaker for me are An Intimate Close-Up of a Street Punk Troublemaker. I hate the name of that song, but the song is really, really good. I like Bower Rock and Roll a lot, and Telegraph Avenue. I don't know, man. I just love that song, dude. I absolutely love that song. Number 5 is Let the Dominoes Fall. When I started making this list, I really thought that I was going to like Indestructible way more than most of these records. When you see where Indestructible fell, you're going to probably laugh after me saying that. But Let the Dominoes Fall, I gave it a 9.4 out of 10. Came out on June 2nd, 2009 on Hellcat and Epitaph. It's 19 songs, 45 minutes and 28 seconds in length. It's also got an expanded edition that's 31 songs in an hour and 13 minutes in length. This album holds up really well, man. I like it quite a bit more than I thought. I remembered liking it okay, but I really did think it was like the younger brother to Indestructible. But upon re-listens, almost every song on this album is good to me. I even like the shimmy ya, shimmy yay, whatever the hell Matt Freeman's doing on that song. I love that track. It's silly, but I love it, man. I don't take this stuff that serious. It's just great music, okay? Some people just like, this not, and I'm not talking about you, Michael. You like whatever you want, buddy. Me and him are debating right now the quality of the new record, and man, I can't believe he's not more stoked than he is. We'll see how he feels in a couple of days, though. I think when he listens to it a couple more times, he's going to really warm up to it. But Let the Dominoes Fall is almost a perfect record, man. I freaking love that album, man. It's so good. My top 3 tracks on it are The Highway, bro. I mean, are you kidding me? How could you not love that song? Liberty and Freedom and Up to No Good. Those three songs, I can listen to them anytime, anywhere. I will say though that it starts off with a few bangers, dude. I don't know. This is a hard list to make, but it is what it is. We move along. Number six. Uh, yep, number six. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. Number six is the self-titled 1993 album. I gave it a 9.0 out of 10. It was released on May 10th, 1993, just about 30 years ago at this point. On Epitaph Records, it is 16 songs and 34 minutes and 15 seconds in length. I got this one way late, and so when I heard this record, I already had a Rancid sound in my head, and so I didn't like it quite as much. I love it now. It does rank a little lower than I thought it was going to rank. I thought it would be like the top three. It's not. I really love it though. I don't know what to say about it. It's a short, quick album, but you could tell they're young. They're not quite as good at songwriting yet, and it's missing Lars Fredriksson. And Lars Fredriksson being added to this band is really, really important. My top three songs on this album are Hyena, Out of My Mind, and Get Out of My Way. And those three songs, I will put up with any Rancid song that's out there, though. I love those three songs a lot. Number seven. Number seven is Honor Is All We Know. I also gave it a 9 out of 10. It came out on October 27th, 2014 on Hellcat and Epitaph Records. 17 songs, 39 minutes and 12 seconds in length. This album came out when my oldest kid was like a baby, and so I kind of knew it was out, and I listened to it a little bit, but I never like went in and dug in because I was just like, I'd rather just go listen to And Out Come the Wolves. And I feel like I did it a disservice because, yeah, I don't know, man. This album is very good. I really love the opening track on this record, like a lot. It's very good. Actually, most of the album is really, really good, and this is a very hard list to compile. This album is so different from '93 in quality, but it may actually be better. It's definitely close. It's hard to put these albums in this list and stick with it. I'm so just back and forth and flip flopping all this stuff. The only two songs on the entire album that I don't really like are "Turn In Your Badge" and "Now We're Through With You," and neither of those are just awful songs. They're just two that I don't really care for. So I don't really have any songs on '93 that I just don't like, I guess. So that's why I put this where I did. But the top three songs, in my personal opinion, are Collision Course, Evil Is My Friend, and Face Up. Ooh, buddy, man. Those songs are good. I'm telling you. So I'm going to be doing a playlist on Spotify, the Rancid Rankings playlist, and I'm going to put each song from each album that I love on that playlist, and then I will include three songs from the new record, which I won't tell you which ones they are. You'll have to go check it out for yourself. But I'll put a link to that in the description and in a pinned comment. So, number 8 is Indestructible. I gave it an 8.0 out of 10. It came out on August 19th, 2003 on Hellcat and Epitaph Records. It was distributed by, I guess, Sony or something? I don't know. People hate on that fact, but I don't know his distribution rights. It was released on Hellcat Epitaph. Like, I don't know. I don't even know. Do I have a copy of that on CD? I might. I want to see if it's got another logo on it. It might, dude. It might. But it's 19 songs, 52 minutes, and 42 seconds. Okay. This was a hard record to talk about because when it came out, I have very fond memories of this album. I was in a band with my friends. We were playing music, and we went and got it and listened to it on the way to practice. I remember that. I remember all of us really loving it. It had a few different things in it. It had Skinhead Rob from Transplants doing a guest spot on it. But there were some things about it that real punk rockers didn't like. They didn't like the fact that they had the distribution through, I think it was Sony. I might be wrong. They didn't like that it had major distribution, which I think is super weird. They didn't like the Fall Back Down video having Kelly Osbourne and the Good Charlotte dudes in it. I don't know, man. They didn't like that. They didn't really care for Red Hot Moon having Skinhead Rob in it. I remember that being a big complaint, but I thought it was cool that Rancid was going and kind of branching out and getting out of their comfort zone to make some music that was risky. And whether it was amazing or not is, up to you, but it was risky, and that's a bold move, and it takes a lot of courage to do that. Indestructible is an album that it's polarizing for me. One day I love it, and one day I can't stand it. It's frustrating, but I do, at the end of the day, love every Rancid record, even the last one on the list. Okay, because it's a Rancid record, and I'd rather listen to that than most anything else. The top 3 songs on Indestructible for me are Start Right Now, Memphis, and Spirit of '87. I also want to mention that Red Hot Moon and Fall Back Down are also two of my favorites, but I thought that those were like the typical picks. I wanted to go a little deep cut on it, so I went with my actually these are my top 5 songs on the record. And so I did Start Right Now, Memphis, and Spirit of '87, and I will be including those 3 on the playlist. But my least favorite Rancid record is Self-Titled from 2000. I gave it a 7 out of 10, and I think that's pretty generous. I'm going to tell you why I don't like that album. It came out on August 1st, 2000 on Hellcat Epitaph's 22 songs and 38 and a half minutes. So when that record came out, I was 18 years old, and I had had, up to this point, years of experience with Rancid. I had listened to Let's Go and Out Come the Wolves. I had gone back and gotten Self-Titled 93. Life Won't Wait had come out, and I had listened to that and enjoyed it. So I had this idea of what Rancid sounded like. And they came out with an album that, in my personal opinion, was a try-hard album. It felt to me like a lot of people look at it as in, oh, it's like a hardcore album. And I look at it as like, no, they were trying too hard to show people how punk rock they still were. And I don't think that's necessary. I think it comes off real poserish to me. I just don't. And this is my favorite band in the world we're talking about here. I don't say this lightly. I don't like saying it, but it is what it is. I thought it was really weak, man. I thought that they didn't try to make a Rancid record. They tried to make a record where Rancid sounded punk. Rancid is a punk band. Nothing about Rancid is not punk. Like, it's not up for debate. The first 2 tracks don't even sound like Rancid. There's bad vocal performances, and I hate the snare drum on this album. Tracks 3 and 4 are okay, but 5's another miss. Antennas, track 11. It's not even until 11 songs in that I get a song that I actually like. Antennas is pretty good. Not to Regret is a decent song, but the vocals by Tim are absolutely awful. I really like Radio Havana. That's a good song, but I thought that was on Life Won't Wait, man. For the longest time, I thought that Radio Havana was a Life Won't Wait song. If you just played it for me and go, what album is this from? I'd have been like, oh, it's Life Won't Wait, because it certainly sounds like it. I don't like the song Axiom, but I do have to point out that this is probably Lars's best vocals on this entire album. And then there's an absolutely insane bass line. I just don't like the song very much. That's another thing. Lars's vocals on this record are absolutely terrible. They crack and pop a lot. It's awful. He's like trying to scream instead of just singing like he normally does. And I really do think it's because people were giving so much crap from Life Won't Wait about not being punk. And then when they came out with Indestructible, people were super pissed. Rancid gets a lot of crap that I think is very undeserved. Dead Bodies has also got a crazy bass line, but I'm not super into that song. Reconciliation reminds me of Self-Titled 93 quite a bit, but it's still a skip for me. I just don't like it. It's not a good song, in my opinion. The album closes on at least 4 skips. Golden Gate Fields is an all right song, but it's ridiculously long. Overall, I guess I like 3 songs on the record total. There are 2 or 3 more that are okay, but out of 22 songs, dude, that's absolutely crazy, man. And I find it absolutely insane that people love this record so much. I can't believe it, dude. It blows my mind. 'Cause when it came out, my group, we didn't care for it. None of us. Nobody that I knew liked this album that much. Not that I recall, anyways. Maybe I'm just misremembering that. I might be, but I don't recall anybody really liking it. I'll just say that I don't even have 3 songs that I really want to put on it. We'll go with Antennas and Radio Havana. So that's the ones that I'll put on the playlist. Excuse me, I spaced out for a second. But yeah, that's the Rancid rankings list. I'm sure it's going to upset some folks. I'd love to hear. I don't want to upset anybody. I just want to have a conversation. So, what's your list? What order do you put them in? I'd love to hear back from you guys in the comments, man. I'll go over it one more time. This is my Rancid album rankings lists. And Out Come the Wolves is number 1. I gave it a 10 out of 10. Life Won't Wait is number 2. I gave it a 10 out of 10. Let's Go is number 3. I gave it a 9.8 out of 10. Troublemaker is number 4. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. Let the Dominoes Fall, 9.4 out of 10. Self-Titled 93, 9.0 out of 10. Honor Is All We Know, 9.0 out of 10. Indestructible, 8 out of 10. And last, but certainly not least, I guess, at this point, Self-Titled 2000, 7 out of 10. Actually, it is least. I don't like that album. It's not good. It is what it is, dude. But I love Rancid, and I love this new record. So stay tuned for the review of Tomorrow Never Comes, because it'll be dropping really soon after this. So thank you for hanging out with me for a little while. I appreciate your time. If you love what we're doing over here and you like the content I'm trying to bring, please subscribe to the channel and give us a like, follow, all that stuff. Just help us out with that. We're trying to grow the channel. I want to be able to bring more of this content to you guys, and I'd love again to hear your opinion in the comments. Let me know where you rank these albums. What order do you put them in? And also, did you hear the new album? Did you like it? Let me know. Have a good day, everybody. We'll see you later. Oh, enjoy your weekend. Peace.